Hi everybody, Neil Kravitz here. I hope you're enjoying these daily clinical pearls. Just an early morning pearl before I head to the office. I received a great question on a previous video, whether I could explain or clarify how an open exposure does not close up in the time between the surgery and when I see the patient. So let's review the Barricaid wound dressing. So during a consultation with a pallidly displaced canine for an adolescent patient, now I'm actually going to do an open exposure for any patient, but ideally we see a patient in middle school, they have a PDC, and what I tell the family is you do not need to start treatment today, but we do need to address this orthodontic emergency. So I send them to an oral surgeon. I use just one oral surgeon who does an open exposure. Ideally, he'll remove the deciduous canines, he'll expose the impacted permanent canine to the CEJ, and he bonds or she bonds a radiographic eyelet onto the crown of the tooth. It doesn't matter whether it's buccal or lingual. Typically the lingual surface is exposed, so they just bond the radiographic marker, that eyelet, onto the lingual surface. And then here's the kicker. They're going to add Barricaid. Barricaid is a wound dressing material that prevents the soft tissue overgrowth. And I said before, if you don't have access to Barricaid, just using glass ionomer, your basic band cement will work just fine. In our day, in dental school, we use something called CoSoft, which is like a periodontal packing. So what happens is I see the patient 4 to 6 months later, and I just tell them, I don't need to see you. The tooth will come in on its own, and when the tooth emerges in the mouth, that's when I begin orthodontic treatment. And my first step is to extrude the crown further before I bring the tooth into the arch to prevent the root from lagging behind. So the pearl here is that the tissue does not overgrow because of the presence of the Barricaid. And if the Barricaid ever came off, it's very rare because that eyelet holds the Barricaid. If it ever came off, have the surgeon immediately reapply the Barricaid, and if they cannot do it, you can just apply a little bit of glass ionomer cement yourself. I hope you enjoyed this pearl. Hope that made some sense and clarified how the open exposure stays open. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, and keep these questions coming. I'll talk to you soon.